Welcome to the show. You guys can't see me, and now you can. Wow, that's dark. Let's fix. Hey. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Another episode of You Can't Do That on Salesforce. And what is this big thing here? I don't know. That's a picture. That is not part of the show. Not part of the show. All right. What's going on? What are we doing? Building us some more Uno. Picking up where we left off last week. Closing a lot of tabs. That's what I'm doing off to the side here. Hopefully you guys can't hear the fly flying around the room, which is awesome. Yep, there he goes. Meow. All right. When we last met, we were building Uno. Quick recap. Made some data, made some objects, made some little bit of security thinking on who should see what. And I think we're ready to start throwing some logic at this. Throw our game engine logic at this. As much flow as possible is going to be the name of the game. We might have some, I think we're going to have some Apex Invocables to write as well. But still got our rules and everything else up from last week. Except I'm not logged into my org here. Well, let's get back into it. All right. Let's take a quick rundown of the objects here. What did we call them? Let's see. Did we pull? We did not. Let's do a pull. Get everything we got here. Hopefully, no errors would be wonderful. Yay! All right. First pull of the project, no problem. Okay, so we got cards. We know that cards are going to be. Actually, I think we've got some data. Did we create an Uno app? We did. We got cards. We got some convention for these. Green 0 and I think green 1. Yep. Games are what we're going to produce next. And in doing so, we're also going to pick players, etc. from for all of that. So let's see what we've got here. Got our cards, we got our games, we got to make game cards. So when we were looking at game cards last week, just to refresh memory here. Game cards live in piles, and it's piles that do our security magic. So a pile is either the draw pile, the discard pile, or a hand. So we can treat a hand as a pile because we need different security for each of those. So I think before we get into building, let's go ahead and build out the data that we need real quick for the Uno cards. And I'm just going to do that in a spreadsheet, I think, in a Google Sheet. Get one open here. This should be pretty pretty copy pastable. If Google Sheets will open. Hello? Okay, yeah, we gotta log in. Hold the phone. All right. Now we gotta open an app on the phone. Yeah, hang on. Oh, there it is. Where'd the phone go? So much security. Let's see. Yes, that's me. Yes, that's my number. Excuse me. You know, I'm also on my VPN, and I'm gonna stop that for now. Tunnel Bear, not sponsored. Make sure it's not messing about with bandwidth. Okay, are we in? Yes, we are in. Okay, we need Forceopoly data. Let's do some Uno data. And what have we got here for cards? Thanks, OBS. The name. Oops. I'll bring this over so you all can experience my impeccable Excel skills. Name, color, value, and action. Action we don't do anything with for regular cards, but we do use it for, let's see, what are our options under action? Yep, draw 2, draw 4, reverse, skip wild. Okay. Draw 4 is also a wild, so we don't need necessarily 2 of those. Full rules. I think there's a picture of the deck in here somewhere. There's a full deck of Uno. We're going to have 2 of most. Yep. So let's see. How do we set this up? We're going to do, let's do the reds. Right? And bunch of reds. Value 0, 1. I think I can drag this down. Yep, only going to go to 9. And that should be our, then we'll do a second set of those, and then let's see, we've got red skip, action is skip. I'm not sure about the value on these ones, because I think is our value numeric on the card right now. That might need to change. Maybe we don't use value on the action cards. Maybe it's more like this. Red skip. How many do we have? I'm going to double all of this in a second, but red reverse. Red draw 2. And red draw 4. Now what's interesting is they are, in this view, they're adding a wild to each color, but that's really not the jam. Oh, so I think we were going to use black. I think that was our color for draw fours and wilds. And how many of those do we have? So I think we have everything we need here. Let's do a formula for these names. And take the number. And actually, I'm going to take the action. Let's see how that looks all the way down. I think we're going to have some extra spacing here. Yep. So can we... These probably have some... Can we trim? Can you trim with the... You guys are going to get an Excel lesson here for a minute. Can we trim? And we also need to replace, right? We need to get rid of the doubles. Substitute this, looking for that, replace with that. Yep. And then can we trim? I think we still have some trailing values on these. So let's see. Google Sheet formula trim trailing white space. How about that? Do we just trim? Maybe we just trim. Maybe I don't mean to make this hard. Trim. Nope, did that in a weird spot. Okay. Let's take all this. I think we're good. Okay. Red, 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 red. Now we're going to duplicate. Oh, wait, let's see. We need to do black. That's interesting. Black draw 4. Or just draw 4. Interesting. Oh, wait a second. We had a $sign in one of these. Huh. D13. Doot. 15, 14. That was... Why did that happen? And doot. Just black. Okay. Black. Whoops. I don't think this page is really useful. Black wild. We've got 4 of those. Maybe there is no color associated with these. There would be no reason for that, right? We can just call that wild. I think so. We got 4 of these. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got 4 wilds. And actually, I'm just going to move all of this way down. Whoa, not that far down. You know, better off, let's do those at the end, because the easy move here is, I actually don't need draw 4, right? No, we'll do black draw 4s also. Yep, so we'll get rid of that. So we're really going to do 0 through 9, and then these 3, and then the next round we don't need a 0. So I'm going to delete these 2. Okay, that's good. Let's put a header here. We're going to do the same thing, but now these are green. Green. Great. I'm going to grab these again. We're going to do yellow. Yellow. And do blue. Okay, and then we need four wilds and 4 draw 4s. One, two, three, 4. Cool. 4 wilds, 4 draw 4s. The 1s and the 0s. Good. These cards I don't know. So there should be 109 rows. Yep. It's technically 108 cards, and we got a header. Groovy. I think that looks good. We have 2 in here already, which I'm going to delete. Green 0, green 1. Let's get rid of these. I also just realized I need to remove the publisher actions, or yeah, global actions, but whatever those are called, stuff that doesn't need to be there. All right, we've got data. Let's export this. I'm going to just use Salesforce import. Wizard. Launch wizard. Cards, new. Yep. Which user? Nope, we don't have that. We have nothing to trigger. We need a CSV. We'll take a CSV. Common delimited, yes. Map. Color to color. Map value to value. Map action to action. All right, next. 4 fields, let's go. Completed, no failures. Records failed, 100. That's weird. What were our failures here? If we open this, where's it going to open? Probably in numbers. Okay. Duplicate value. What? What is the duplicate value on these? We inserted a few. Duplicate external ID specified. What did I do? Must have done something funky on the object there. Did we make... Name isn't unique. What needs to be... What's unique here? Duplicate value. Oh, are you all even seeing this? I wouldn't expect 104 failures. What did it put in successfully? I guess that's the question. Blue, green, red, yellow. All the zeros. So color is a pick list. Restrict values. But when we actually don't need black in here. But there's nothing that requires uniqueness here. So what's going on? Duplicate external ID specified. The name. I don't recall. Wait a minute. Can I not? Let's make it here. I'm just going to duplicate. Let's go to blue 0. I feel like I'm missing something obvious here. Make it exactly the same. No issues. Shouldn't care about... Did I pick that on the import? Maybe I did. Hold on. I think I did. I did. I picked the... Yeah, I know. That was dumb. All right. Delete, select ID from card. When I was doing the data import, that's exactly what I told. It did exactly what I told it to do. Anonymous Apex. Did we clear stuff out? Yes, we did. All right. Hang on, dog wants to come in. Here we go. Well, yeah, if you import wrong, it's gonna work. It's not gonna work right. Go figure. Let's try that again. Wizard. Not gonna match. Just gonna import. And it is interesting though that it bailed that quickly. Doesn't seem like that would make sense, but okay. Yep. 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 There we go. No failures this time. Back to the cards. 1 1 1 2 3 3 2 2. Okay. Draw 4. Do we get our wilds in? I think so. Do we have wilds in our? Yeah. Wild. Oh, there they are. Couldn't find them. Because W becomes before Y. Okay, we got cards. Cool. So 108 cards. That's everything we need. Now we can get rid of that. And we need to create a game. So we start a game. Eventually we're going to override the new. Let's kick off a flow. Pick players. Player, did we relate players to users? I forget if we did that. Player fields. Does not currently relate to a user, but kind of needs to because that's where our security is gonna live. So sorry, friends, if you want to play. If you want to play Uno and be safe about it, gotta be a user in the system. And this is very similar to what we've done elsewhere. Every other game we've made, I think, we've created a player that relates to a user. There we go. Okay. And let's do some flow. Now, I guess the one exception we could say something like, if all of our interactions ran through flow for the Uno game, I suppose we could do system level access and manage all of the security ourselves, but kind of defeats the purpose of the platform. So let's not do that. Let's use the platform for what it's used for. Because even if we tried to do like an anonymous thing, right, on a community or something like that, we couldn't. We'd need to know. Excuse me. We'd need to know who you are. If we didn't know who you are, then well, we wouldn't be able to create games or keep things secure. So, all right, let's leave it as a user, and let's start making a flow for a new game. Screen flow. So let's see. If we're going to start a game, let's pick our players first, I think. That makes sense. Yeah, let's choose players. All right. The flow labels, I think we're going to hide and just use our own. Let's say new Uno. All right, so selecting players. Last time I did this for Monopoly, we sort of looped through the selection process, and that worked. We could also use a I think we could also use a data table. And then we just need a source collection for that. We can select multiple columns. We could have a filter on that, and then loop over them, generate a random number for their sequence, and that'd be that. So I think we're going to need to create a couple more. My favorite thing is always creating users for Scratch orgs, but I think that's a reasonable approach here. For now, I'm just going to show all the users. I think that's fine. Eventually, we can add something that filters by name or something like that. But we need a collection first. This is users, and that's going to be a list of records of type user. There we go. Of course, we need to populate that. So, yeah, we have nothing in there right now. We're going to be able to pick multiple. The columns that we want to show are, I think we'll just say, we'll keep it fancy. We'll do first name and last name. Okay. And then let's call done. Oops, what am I missing? Oh, sorry. This is users data table. Select users. We do want to show the footer. Oh, wait, no, we do want to show that. Okay, done. Let's load users. And actually, we can, yeah, I think we can use that. We don't need to create that collection. We can use our own collection to populate that. We can use this as the collection. So is active. We'll just go with that for now. True, sort by name. All records, all fields. Back over here, this table uses get users, done. We don't need this. Save. This is new uno. Let's say uno : new game. And we want this to run. We're going to run this as system. We don't have 59 yet. I don't think we will, actually, until we request a new Scratch org. All right, let's take a look at how this works. Not much to go with here. There we go. People. I think there's a limit. There's a reasonable limit to how many people you can choose. We talked about this yesterday or last week. Like, how many users can you have in a Uno game before you can't? You run out of cards, right? So that's something. It also looks like we should exclude people where the first name is blank or the last name is process. And yeah, let's do that. Get users and first name does not equal empty string. Let's make sure that's working as expected. Getting better. Okay. And first name well, we'll do automated. First name does not equal integration. First name does not equal security. Probably a more elegant way of doing that would be maybe a not. Can we do a not in on? We can do not in. So, well, actually, can we do this? I don't think so. I think we could create the create a text collection, right? Put all those in there. Then use that. Well, let's see how we're doing here. Should be pretty slim. Hey, 1. Okay, cool. So we need a couple more users. And let's do that in a way that I can never remember, so I need to look it up. SFDX. Whoa, do not save the page. SFDX scratch org create user. All right, we'll have to create user and then set password for them. So we'll call this first one U2. Okay. U3. And then SFDX. Oh, there are no available user licenses for the user profile standard user. Okay. What do we have? I think I only have 2 of those. Do we have platform? We do. We have some platform users. So how do I tell it what license type to use? Let's just look at the help for create user. Oh. Profile name. Let's see, do we have a profile that is meant for platform? I think we do. Standard platform user. Okay, so we can pass that as profile name. Is that right? SFDX org create user. Good, platform will be fine. Set alias U3 and profile name equals standard platform user. Ready, go. Okay, we got 2 users. Let's see, sales SFDX org list user. I did mean list users. Okay, we've got 3 users now. Let's take a look at them in Salesforce. Users. And I think this one is our U2. Hopefully I can just change these because I will get confused. U2, and U2. I'll just make everybody same role. It's going to let me. Yep, air it out. I think it's when I select the role that it kind of has a heart attack, but I do need to make this a flow user. Yep. That was U2, and this is U3. Oops. I don't know. I gotta look into why you can't select the role for these users. There's no roles, in fact. I don't know if I can even set it on my. Well, let's find out, right? SFDX user role error, right? Adding role to my user. It comes up anytime you assign one of the built-in roles. Typically begin scratch orgs. It has sample data false with a little anonymous Apex. Yeah, seems like you need to maybe create your own. Let's see what this says. Oh, never mind. That doesn't say anything. I think this is where we just were. Yep. Delete the roles, bring in your own roles, update your users. I mean, that's fair. Okay. Unless, I mean, this update new user. Oh, I see. No, I was just selecting the current user ID. Got it. All right. Well, we'll get to that point when we need to do some role mojo. But for now, we've got users. So I should be able to go back here. Run again. Hooray. We can pick multiple users, and we're all set. No, just kidding. We have our users. So once we have our users, we want to loop on them. And actually, we're going to create a players collection. All right, we'll pick that. And we're going to loop on loop selected users. Users data table selected rows. Okay. We need a player iterator. Try to give these a name that init player iterator. So we'll loop over each of these, and our player iterator dot user equals our current users ID. I think we're going to have to do more here. I think it needs a name, so we'll have to populate a name. But I think if we do like game dash player, we might need to get our game inserted before we do anything. Is there a sequence on here? Player iterator sequence. Yeah. So this is where I think we're going to need. I'm going to add this to the collection. Add player iterator to players collection. Players collection. Add iterator. Okay, and save view. So in between here, we're going to do a call an invocable. We're going to call an invocable to get us a random number, and I think I just will be right back in just 2 minutes. Okay, let's see. I think we're back. I think we're back. We're back. All right. We are back. Let's make that invocable. This is going to be real simple. We just want it to call the Apex random, math.random, and return us a number between a couple things. So to do, let's do a quick poll as we made a few changes. I'm going to pop a soda. And that all makes sense. Changed. Yep. Okay. Let's make a new Apex class. Let's call it get random number invocable. Let's completely forget what a invocable method looks like. And let's steal the details we need from here. Yeah, so we're gonna pass in, I mean, we gotta pass in something. So, do we have to pass in? I can't remember. Inputs, at most one, and it must be, I really wish this would change someday, that you can have more than one invocable method in an Apex class, because it just gets messy. I'm gonna eat some food. Cantaloupe. Killer. I mean, we could basically pass, what can we pass? We could just pass a number, right? We could pass the object itself. Do we even need to pass anything, though? Like, all I really need to do, excuse me, is return a value. Well, let's see. Get random. These don't need sharing, right? This is just public class. Doesn't need a constructor. Just needs to be a method. These static? Yep. Oops. Public static list. What are we going to pass? Decimal? I think it's decimal. Let's see if it lets me save this. I don't know. Okay. Return 1. Oh, wait. No. Oh, wait. I am passing. Take this out. Man, I was running into this elsewhere. Like, my pushes worked until they didn't. Okay, so let's go back to returning null. right, so it doesn't have a problem with it per se, but what happens when we try to consume it? Get random, whoops, get random number. Okay, nothing to set here. This action has no inputs. And then it's not going to return anything right now, but see, it's always, I think it's got to return. It's got to be a list, right? So we could have it select our what happened in my push? Okay. Let's refresh this. Caller action. Get random number. Actually could move this up, right? And then we could edit iterator.sequence equals number from get random number. Okay. Let's debug. I think because of this, right, the inputs and outputs need to match. I don't know what this is going to return unless you're smart enough to say, oh, you ran it with 0. I'll return you 1. Maybe it will. Let's debug and find out. Do, do, do. Come on now. What are you doing? Yep. Let's run it. Let's pick all 3, and hopefully we'll see it play out in the... All right, well, it's doing it. Got our users, loop through, get random, 894, get random, and why it says 0 there, 136, get random, 451. It worked. I'm not sure why it goes from 1 to 0 in the when we're showing the outputs, but hey, I wasn't sure what to expect there. Also, that's text. I don't think we want that to be text. Let's change that and see if it blows up the universe here. No, wait, it is. I'm sorry, it is number. And it's curious that it'll take up to 5 decimal points. What happens when we try to save those players? Oh, we can't. We can't because we don't have a game yet. Well, that's okay. Let's make a game. What do we really need on game? Oh, this cantaloupe is amazing. I think really we just need... I don't think we need anything. I think we can just... just create it. Yeah. All right, let's... we got our players already. Well, actually, we should probably create our game up here. Let's create game. I feel like I ran into this before where we needed to create a record and there was no no fields to actually populate. I think I had to populate something with the owner ID, so I'm going to use the owner, set the owner as the current user. That's what would happen anyway, but it needs something in there, if I remember right. All right, so if we create game, then we can initialize the game here. Create game. Yep. And then let's insert our players. Because I want to see what happens when these are populated. Doot. All done. Did we get a game? We did. We got a game. Reversed was checked. I think that is wrong. 3 players. Random sequence. Was it random? Or did it use the same value for everyone? Nope. 118. Oops. And 2, 3, 4. Okay. Why did it make the reverse default true? Nope, we don't want that checked. Save that and we'll create a couple of wipeout scripts here. Oh, Now dog wants to go out. See you, pup. Okay, we need a couple of... I think we can just... let's see. Is player a child, a detail of the game? Yes. So let's just delete. Select. Okay. Gonzo. And bye-bye. Okay. No more game. All right, so we can create a game. We can... What the heck was that? We created a game. We created players. Players have a random sequence. And... our game object... Actually, our player object, right? Let's see. How do we know who the current player is? Did we have some magic hocus pocus for that? Or do we expect the game to know? Discard pile. We have some piles to make too. We're going to use that call to random for the sequence of the cards also. And we can deal those. But do we want the game to track the current player? Or do we want the player to track the current player? So some of that could play into our... well, it's going to play into our sequence. And depends if we're reversed, right? Either we're going to sort ascending or descending. Ascending will always be not reversed. Descending will be reversed. That's a rule that we need in the game. I think we want the... Oh wait, no. We're talking about turns. Turns, right? Did we make a turn object? We did. So our turn object is going to dictate who the current player is. Because we have a status. Right. Player, turn. What did they draw? What did they discard? How many? There's a little, because we just ran into a, well, what if you draw 2? What if you draw 4? We're just going to take the most recent draw and put that in drawn, and then put the number in the draw count. And then what did they discard, if anything? Okay, so we need to, now that our game is created and our players are created, I almost want to, can we sort our collection? Sort players by sequence. Players collection, sort by sequence ascending. Keep all items after sorting. If I do that, does it give me the players in the right sequence? Let's find out. Oops, what did I just do? Oh no. Oh shoot. I think we have to do that again. Nope, we did save it. Okay, so we just need to get rid of our debug. Debug again. Run. Okay, done. Let's go back to our game. I want to edit this. Because it would be great if what we just sorted was ultimately how they were inserted. Let's do this. We'll throw the user in there too. All right, cool. 19, perfect, perfect. So we do a sequence, random number in the sequence. Then we do a sort, and then they save in the sequence that was sorted. Neat. So then our first player needs a turn record. The question now is, do we have to do turn over and over again? So we could hand that off to another flow, because it should probably be responsible for determining who's next, and then creating that record, that turn record based on who's next. Who's next is going to include, is this reversed? So we're probably going to need the game ID. Which is fine. It's been created at this point. So we did new game, and now we need, create next turn. I probably should call it create new game. I think we can we still change it? No, we can't change the flow name. So create new game and then create new turn. We're going to need that, which is going to take the game. I think it just needs the game ID. We figure out the current player. How can we do that? Let's see. If I want to get the next player, I would get all players for the game, sort by the reversed or not reversed, get all players, sort by... I would get the current player get their sequence, and sort the current player, we have their sequence, get all players where sequence is greater than or equal to the sequence and it's not the current player, and I just need one. If I get that, I have my player, however it needs to be sorted. If I don't get someone back, then I just want to query all players and get the top one, again, based on my sort, ascending or descending. And I can use that whole logic for the whole thing, I think. We also need to create, so before we do, well, let's just initialize, let's get that started, right? I don't think that requires, that's just going to be an auto-launched flow. It's going to take in the game ID, right? We know the game ID, so let's get, let's get current player. How do we know current player? We need to get latest turn, actually, is what we need. Yep. And that's going to be a turn. We want to get them all. Sort descending by ID is fine. We really only need the most recent one, right? Yeah. I want them all because I'm going to do a check. No, we just return all records. Okay, that's the latest turn. What's its status? Check turn status. Latest turn. Can't remember what the statuses are. So I think I would say is turn done? Question mark. Yes. Is turn done? Yes. If it's done, then we're going to do more stuff. If it's not done, then we're gonna bail. Let's default success to true. And then let's have a message. These are available for output. So our default outcome here would be to set Success is false. Message is current turn is not complete. Cannot create new turn. Current turn is not complete. Okay. Uno, create new turn. Okay. Those will be set and that will be done. If the turn is done, then, well, I have the latest player. And we're going to say, I know the turn, I know the player, I know the game. So let's make our lives a little bit easier here and say is reversed Boolean get latest turn. Oh, we also have the game here. So yep, okay. Decision reversed. Reversed yes. Is reversed equals true. Done. Is it reversed? Yes. And let's create one more formula called latest turn player sequence. Latest turn player sequence. That is a number. I think it has 5 decimal places. Okay. So if it is reversed, we're gonna get latest user reversed attempt 1. So let's get a user. And the direction is going to be descending. So I want... Oh, wait, no, this is player. Player... Only the first record by sequence, right? Where the sequence is less than or equal to latest player turn and the ID does not equal turn player. Don't return the same player. And what's going on with my hair? Don't return the same player, but we're in descending order because we're reversed. So get the sort descending. The sequence has to be less than the last one. Okay? Okay. Cool. I'm going to copy this over here, right? And because this is going to be get latest user, just attempt 1. This is greater than or equal, and this is ascending order. Right? Good. Then Player found, reversed attempt. Yes. If we found it, we have our player. Because we're just pulling one, right? Only the first record. Yep. If we found it, we have our player. If we don't, then we have to query once more. And if we copy this, paste it here. This will just be player found. Okay. So we have these two conditions. I wish that you could make the ascending and descending dynamic, because we wouldn't need to do this nonsense. So it goes. We're looking for our latest turn. Is the turn done? If not, we're not doing anything. If it is, was the game reversed? If the game was reversed, then we need to sort in descending order here. Otherwise, we're sorting in ascending order here. We're testing in both sides. Did we actually find a player? I'm going to change these a little bit. Let's just say get latest user. Well, no, because we're going to get latest user a second time. So let's copy this. Nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Copy you. Paste you here. Oh, wait, no, cut. You're going over here. If you weren't found, then we're going to do get latest user attempt 2. Get latest user attempt 2. We just need the first. Yeah, we just need the first one in the list, because we're back. We got to the bottom and now we're going back up. So that takes care of that. We need to set a player variable, because this is a lot. Let's copy this over here because we didn't find it. Get latest user attempt 2, get latest user attempt 2. Ascending. Ascending, ascending, descending, descending. Okay, let's save all that. It's a little bit of a lot, but again, we have to do these two conditions because of the reversed situation. I guess you could query and then sort, but I think you're going to end up with just as many. There is. We just end up with the same thing after the fact, right? We're either sorting during the query or we're going to sort after the query, so I don't know if there's really any benefit there. So let's do So we should have. I think we want a variable called next player, because all four of these are returning that, and I want to just reference it once. So next player. Set next player. Oh boy, these are. This I'm on the reversed attempt one here. Hello. This one. Reversed attempt 2. Yeah, just clean it up a little bit. And copy again, paste here. This is set next player 3. Come on, show me the names. Attempt 1. Attempt 2. All right, this one. And copy. And set next player 4. And I think that's the last one on the list. Or wait, oh, is it the second one on the list? Yes. Okay, so we, one way or another, we got our next player. And now we can make a new turn. Because, let's see, we're not making a turn over here. We're just going to end. Can we just insert our turn? Is there anything else we need to know about the turn? We have not done, we know our game, we know our player. Score is not happening. Status, does that default? Defaults to next. Yep. And I think that's it. We just need to set the player in the game, because we haven't done any of these other things yet. Score, we calculate at the end, and we're not ready for that yet. So, okay, create turn. Let's create turn. Create next turn. Okay. One separate create a turn record, and the game is the latest turn game, and the player is our next player ID. Okay, so I think we have our a little bit of a lot, but we have our next turn, or our new turn logic, and all we need to pass is the game ID. So okay, if what if we don't have a turn? If we don't have a turn, I think we just have to do an OR here, right? If get latest turn is null, is null true, right? I feel like I need to flip these because I think we need to do, I don't know if it cares. So the problem is if we don't have a turn here, yeah, if it's reversed, that's fine. Does our get latest user... We're not going to have our latest turn player sequence. But what we could do when we create the game, right? We just want the game ID. So let's just use that. Kind of cut through everything else, just get to the game ID. We're going to get our next player. Last turn player sequence, right, is this could, get latest turn could be null, right? So if let's see, if it's false, if get latest turn is not null, or we could just say if not is null, right? If not is null, get latest turn, then we'll return the sequence. Otherwise, if I think even is reversed has to be. So I think we're going to need to load the game before we can load the other stuff. Yeah. Well, what if we just return 0? No, because we need it if it's greater than, if it's reversed, it needs to be less than or equal to this value, right? Which would be 1. Contains an invalid flow element. If not is... ID? Maybe? Okay. We need to load the game before we can... We're going to need it if we don't have the... because we need to get the sequence from the game. Let's see. Query the game. ID equals game ID, only the first record, okay. And then here is reversed. This is get game is reversed. No, that is deleted. Get game. Let's see if all right, so if we got a turn, I hope that searching for the ID works here. My guys, help me think here. Then we return the player's sequence for that turn. If it is reversed, or I'm sorry, if that is null, then we decide if the game is reversed, our sequence, quote unquote, we know that our random number is never going to be greater than 1 or less than 0. So if we're reversed, we want to find, in descending order, the next highest player who's less than 1. If it's ascending, then we want to find the next highest, I'm sorry, the next lowest player who's greater than 1, who's less than 1. Then we want to find the next highest player who's greater than 0, I think. That should cover the scenario where we don't have a turn at all, because if we get latest turn, so we're checking to see if it's either it's null or its status is done. Right? So if it's null, we can go down this same path. I don't think we have anything that we're referencing outside of stuff that we couldn't get. Right? We got our sequence in here. So I think this will, well, we can test it, right? We can just debug game. Can we just pass, do I want to pass the game ID or do I want to pass the game? You know? Where's this going to get called? This is going to get called when a turn ends. I think we can just pass the game ID for now. It probably can be cleaner than that. We got the game. We got the turn. Is the turn done? The turn is done because our value is null. Null is true. Yep. Is it reversed? Oops. Reversed is false. Get latest user. We found it. Did we find a player? Latest turn player sequence equals null. All right, hold on. Oh, wait, let's see. So we're literally saying where ID does not equal null there. That might be okay. Is that just like a happy accident here? Because that might be okay. We we don't want anyone who's null. But this thinks that the latest turn player sequence is null. If I look at the game, WAAE, that would be the first player, right? ZFWAAE. ZFWAAE. And then we insert the turn. And then did we actually do that? Let's see. We do have a turn. So but if it, I mean, the start of a game would never be reversed, right? So I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't want to rely on it. Because what if it is? Somehow it miraculously is actually reversed. If it was reversed, would we... Let's go back to the logic. My concern is that this is returning... Let's go here. Get latest user... get latest user temp one. Latest turn player sequence, that's null, right? So that's not what we're looking for. I want that to... This is fine as if it's null. But I was expecting... Maybe is blank. Very confusing. And then I don't think I can do this, right? Yeah. Let's try it again. Let's delete our turn. And sometimes blank and null just act weird. Okay. Here's our game. Ran the same course, which we would expect it to. It's not, there's no There's no turn. It wasn't reversed. We tried to find our player on the first attempt. But again, it shouldn't have done it here. Attempt 1. Oh, it did find a record. So, wait, what's going on here? Oh, wait. These are wrong. Yeah, this is latest user attempt 1. And that's reversed attempt 1. I think that was probably it. Wait a minute, did that? Oh, okay. Delete that. Turn again. I think we need to do some stuff with ownership on turns also. I forget what we were going to do there. But either way, all right, we got our, so this should be player 2. Debug again. Should hit the first condition, and it did. Okay. We set our player. Let's refresh this. Let's, on the turns, can we add the player here? And the user, that would be fine. Yep, picked U2, U2. Now, if we set this to done, and we run that again, just pretend we didn't do anything. We have to draw the card as part of the turn. Okay, that's done. Now let's rerun that flow. And let's look at our game again. So the next player should be 05. And it is. Okay. Let's end this turn. Done. Save. Run it again. The next player should be 06. And it is. So let's see. 4, 5, 6. Now the next player should be 4 again. We should go around the horn. Look again. Run. Ooh. Oh, wait. Did we not done it? I don't think we done it. Not done. Did the job. Okay. Return to the stuff. Did it return the stuff? Cannot create new turn. Current turn is not complete. Cannot create new turn. Current turn is not complete. Cool. Did what it was supposed to. We got to make this one done. Save. Now, debug again. Now we should get player 4. Turn is done. Reversed is not. Player found. Yup. Oh, wait. Player not found. Okay, good. Player not found. Therefore, do the secondary query. Now let's see. Drum roll. Player 4. Yes! Success! Woo! Okay. Groovy. Now let's reverse the game. Right? Yeah, I think so. So let's do this, right? That was like, let's imagine that was like the player four's move. So now we should go back and get 6. When this is done, and I guess, we can call this from here, and then we would also call it from, I think, a flow, or a flow, duh, a record triggered flow on turn when the value is done, right? Technically, we may not need that condition off to the right because we're not going to allow that flow to run outside of that state, but just for, it's encapsulated, if you will, so there's a nice seal around it, preventing it from messing up. Okay, did we make that done? We did. That is done. So now the next player should be 6. The game is reversed. Player 6. Here we go. Yes, and it is. All right, the game is still reversed. That's great because it crossed back over, right? So now let's finish. Let's done 6. Now the next player should be 5. And it is. Sweet. Amazing. 1 second.
Basically ate all of it.
There's a lot.
Fish tacos, because we don't have to leave it until 6.
Oh, okay.
The tilapia is unfreezing and should be able to get it out then.
Sweet.
Not yet on side.
Fish tacos for dinner. Not only is my game sorting work, but we're having fish tacos for dinner. It's a great day. A wonderful day. All right. Well, cool. So we have, let's activate. I feel pretty comfortable with this. Let's go. We'll go back to the flow. Let's activate this. And now I can drop this in. I'm going to save this again. I might have to refresh this because it probably doesn't know about the flow that we just created. Okay, get users, new game, boop, 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 boop. And then create our players. And then we subflow turn. Create new turn. We'll say create first turn. Why not? And the game ID for that is going to be our game ID from create game. Done. Save. Cool. I don't think there's really anything else in here that I would try to encapsulate right now. I think we need to create game cards. We need to do that. Let's see. If we create game cards, they also need to have a sequence applied to them, so it looks a lot like that iterator. We don't. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to create a subflow to create game cards because it's just a loop. But I do think we need a. Oh, now wait a second. Let's think about this. What we're going to need to do is have the ability to shuffle a deck. And in order to shuffle a deck, we need to be able to take game cards, pass them off to something, some set of cards, right? So what we should actually do, if we're being really, what we want to shuffle is a pile, right? I think. We're going to shuffle the draw pile. Because there's no discard, right? So we can create game cards. We create a pile. We shuffle that pile of draw cards. Shuffle means just assign a sequence to them. And then if we get to the end of the draw pile, all of the available cards are in the discard pile. So then we reassign to the draw pile and we shuffle. I think that's what's going to happen, right? Get to the end, no more cards, shuffle. So I think we want shuffle to be something that we can do as part of a game. And I think we want to get do we really need to, can we create the game? Well, I think we could create the game after the user has selected stuff, so it's not just like you get to this page and you're like, I don't know what to do, and then you bail, and then you have a game record and don't know why it was created. But after we create the game, we're going to. I think we could get the cards first, right? So let's get cards. And that's where we're literally just selecting the cards, right? We want all of them. That's a nice little warning. All the cards. Yep, all the cards. We have all the cards. We're going to create game cards, which need to relate. They relate to the game, and they relate to a pile. We actually have to have piles before we can have game cards. So we don't need to isolate that. Create game. Let's create draw pile. I must not have access to those fields. Okay, let's go to our permission set. I think it came on late in yesterday's show. No, we do have all access. Oh, wait, no, there's no, I'm sorry. It's the other way around. We actually need to create the pile before we create the game, because pile has no notion of the game that it's a part of, right? Yeah. So okay, right. Flip it around. I think we can close that. I think we got that licked. Right. We need to create a pile. Create draw pile. Yeah, I think we're just gonna. I have to think a little bit about the. Let's copy this, paste it there. Let's create discard pile. I would argue that a user a distinct user like the sysadmin should probably own all of this stuff, or maybe automated process, or maybe I don't know, an API user or something like that. But an admin's going to have modify all data anyway, so they can get in and cheat. All right, we're going to create our discard pile. Then here on our game, we can create discard pile equals create discard. Draw pile equals create draw. We probably don't need to do the owner ID anymore, but I still think we're going to come in and change that. All right, screen, new game, get the users, get the cards. My goodness, dog. Get the users, get the cards. Check. Show the player, or show the creator who they can pick as players. Check. Create a draw pile, create a discard pile, create a game. They have to happen in that sequence. The game needs to know what the piles are. Loop over the selected users and sequence them. Sort the players by the sequence, create the players, create the first turn. Before we do that, let's, we got our cards. Let's loop the cards. Loop cards. There's 108 of them, so it's going to take a second. We're going to create a game card collection. Game cards collection, and that's a, nope, that's a record. Game card, allow multiple. Okay. And we need to do an iterator. That is a game card type. And we're going to loop those. So we don't need the random number yet. We don't care about the sequence yet. We will. And we also need to assign these to the game and assign them to a pile. So we're looping our cards. We're initting our game card iterator. So our game card iterator game equals the game ID, then our game card iterator pile, right, equals our draw Just making sure the house wasn't on fire. Okay, game card iterator. We pick in the game. Oh wait, I guess we should pick the card, right? That would be sort of important. Game card iterator dot card equals current item in the loop dot ID. There we go. Is there anything else that we need to set? We know the card, we got the game, we got the pile. Sequence we're not doing anything with yet. We're going to do that in our shuffle. Our shuffle thing. Let's see. Shiloh puppy. It's okay. He's got a little bit of a thing. He's licking a lot. It's a fun sound. Shuffle. And really, shuffle. So, it would be smart if we used our shuffle call. Yes, this would be smart. We need to shuffle the players, right? We have a field that we use for shuffling. The only thing I don't know is can we... I'd like to dynamically... Ideally, you could use a shuffle command like everywhere. But in order to do that, we can't just say, here's a subflow called shuffle. And then you could pass in a list of S objects, generic S objects. You could do that. You can tell it what they are. What you can't do is tell it dynamically what field to fill. And on the inside of that subflow, I would need that. I would need to be able to say, in our case, we're lucky because the field's called sequence everywhere on our players and our game cards, but it doesn't know that. It's only dynamic until it gets to, the point of being inside of a flow. Then you have to be quite literal and static. But that's okay. This again, we could expand our flow, right? Or I'm sorry, our invocable. We may not need, we may not want get random number so much as we want, shuffle, which to me would be you'd pass in a list of objects. In this case, it would be our players. In other cases, it would be, it would be our game cards, right? And then you tell it what field are you shuffling. And then go through, take your list and populate that value. And then you get your list back and, you're happy. We don't actually need to return anything. I don't think, because I think those are passed by reference. So, Yeah. All right. Quick break. Back in a minute. Stay tuned. Hey, we're back. Okay. We are right back. So, yeah, we could do the shuffle. It would be probably more efficient, too, in the long run, to, if we're going to do a bunch of work against a list of objects to pass it into an invocable and run it that way. But for now, well, I feel very compelled to take this approach because I just don't want to, otherwise we'd have to redo it anyway. So let's do this. Let's create a new class. We'll call it shuffle. I mean, what it really is no, we'll call it. Let's call it shuffle. Shuffle records invocable. Okay, and I'm just gonna take this so I don't have to remember the syntax. We're going to take a list of object. Oh wait, that's what we're going to return. But let's take a list of S objects, right? And this will be our. What will this be? This will be our records. Do we need to do a list of lists? I don't think so. And I don't. Can we return void? I don't know if it's going to let us. because I want to just act upon the records that are here. But I don't know if this passes by value. I think, or by reference. I think it passes them by reference. So for, oh, well, so here's the other thing. We need to pass, we really need to pass a list of requests. Because we need to tell it what field we're going to this is an invocable variable, right? And then this is going to be, we're going to operate against the list. So we're going to, this is just a string, and then this is the field. So we'll pass in a list of requests. I still don't think we need to, I don't think we need to return anything though, still. Failed to, invocable variable is not allowed on, oh. Oh wait, it is stop. They're not, yeah, they just need to be. It's funny because Aura enabled is the exact opposite. That ran okay. Okay, so for, let's see, for request R, well, request or request, in requests, I can't type, ever. It's not just today, it's never. For S object record in records, record dot put request dot, oh wait, yeah, this is request dot records, request dot field, and we're putting in math dot random. All right. Okay, so now we can maybe pass over here in our create new. Let's save this. I'm gonna refresh. We still have to init. But I'm going to call that action. I'm going to say shuffle game cards. The input is game. Game card. All right. The records are our game card collection. The field is sequence. So that's I mean, we're saving, if this is 108, we're saving, 108 calls to do the shuffle later. And we'll take a big hit here. We're not going to take much of a hit here, but I would like to remove get random and then just pass our collection in here and then get our random numbers that way. I think we also want to sort. After we shuffle, let's sort sort our game cards. All right, we're going to sort by sequence, ascending, keep them all, and then let's create our game cards. There's our collection. Okay. So we did our game. A lot of steps here to creating a game. Let's see if that actually works. We got to delete some stuff, right? Well, I guess we don't have to delete. We can just see how this plays. So start the flow. Run it. I'll pick 3 players. Oop, where'd you blow up? Oh, we're not adding. Got to add them to the. It helps to add them to the. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Does it matter if I add? Because I can do this, right? Game cards collection, add game card iterator, right? I could do that in the same call. I could actually do the same thing here, right? Players collection, add player iterator. I just don't know if it hits these in sequence. I feel like I did this, at some point last year with Monopoly. It would save a call, right? It would save an element. But if I go in and add another field, like I got to make sure to get rid of that last thing and then add it back. It's not the end of the world, but I don't know if they run in sequence. And I also don't know if you now have a reference to the thing that you just added. But let's run it again, and we'll find out. I think that was the problem. Load it up. Select users. Go. All done. Okay. Let's look at the data. To games. Game 4. 2 piles. Draw pile. Game cards. Draw pile games, we probably can get rid of that. Doesn't really make sense. Players, we can get rid of that. That's not going to make sense. The player has a pile. We have to create those as part of the. I think after we create our players, then we have to loop our players again and do that. But we have game cards. I'd like to see on the pile. I'd like to see in the pile, in the page layout, on the we don't want this, we don't want that, we do want this, we want the sequence, we want the card, I think. Okay. Quick save there. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it really did shuffle it, at least, against our sequence field. So I was like reading this one, I was like, wait a minute. But no, we're going from, these are our zeroth. And these are our, it'd be interesting to see how the distribution of this runs over time. Gets pretty high up there. I'm definitely curious about the distribution of random, just to see how random it is. But it did what it said it was going to do. So we passed in our list of records. We didn't have to return anything. It just set them. So that means that we can come down here and actually get rid of, we can delete this. No, we can't. Because we're getting the value here. Where are you? Get rid of that. We have all that. Now get rid of this. Okay. And now, so we're going to sort eventually, but let's shuffle, copy that, shuffle our players. Shuffle players. Ooh, we can't change that. All right, then yeah, let's get rid of it. Let's do it again. Action. Shuff. Shuffle players. What are we shuffling? A player. What's the field? Sequence again. And what are the records? Players collection. Done. Save. Okay. Sort it, create it. So now we have what's useful here, right? We've created our We've created our game, created our our draw card pile and our discard pile. We've created our game. We've put all of our cards in the draw pile, sorted it by random. Sorted it by random, inserted those records. Then we're looping our selected users to create players. We're shuffling our players with the same action that we shuffled our game cards with. We sort that so we have them in a, random order. That's the thing, like with random shuffling, what we're really doing is saying, take a field, make it a random. Once we have it random, now sort against that random field, and there's our random sequence, right? It's the same as a card deck. You shuffle the cards, they end up in a pile, a stack from top to bottom, and then you play them that way. So it's not different. It's just that the data's, we could go in and see the next card, etc. But we're not going to let that happen because security, hopefully. All right, we shuffled our players, we sorted, we created our players, we create our first turn. I don't think we're ready for that here yet, because the other things we need to do are create piles for our players. And I think we want to do that after we create our players. And then, I guess that's a question. If we create players, do they get IDs after they're inserted? Yep. After the flow creates the records, each ID is set to the ID of the corresponding record. Okay, cool. So we have that. So then we're going to create player pile. All right. Player piles collection. This is pile record pile multiple. Yep. We're going to loop our players again. We need an iterator for the pile. Let's call it player pile iterator, just so I remember what that is. Okay, and we'll init a pile. So we need to make the owner equal to the current player and loop players to user. We could just say user. Yep, player to user. Okay. Because the player's user should own the pile and it should be private. All right, init player pile. So do we have any other fields that we can set here? Player pile iterator, not the card count. There's really nothing else. The name's going to get generated automatically. We actually, it's the same deal. We arguably need these piles before we we insert them, or before we have players, because there's no point. So actually, what I think we want to do, we could move this forward, right? I think so. We could move this. Could we? Let's take this out. I think we could move this forward ultimately. We want to init the piles. We got to add them to the collection. Player piles collection, add iterator. Okay, we got all that. So no matter what, we need to do this, right? And after we have them, we'll insert them. So let's create player piles. Okay. Then I gotta loop the I need to get the record that's at the same index as the. Is that the way to do this? I can never remember how to do this. How do you pull? How do you get? Let's see, Salesforce flow. Get collection record at index. We could can we set a variable? Oh boy, this is vintage. Yeah. Right, we could do something like if the top. I think we'd need two. Need two indexes, right? So we have our. Yeah, let's. Well, I mean, let's do it. We can show how this works. All right. So create player piles. So now let's loop. Let's loop the player piles that we just created. Right. Player piles collection. Okay, and we need a variable that we're going to call player piles index. That's a number with no decimal points. We'll start it at 0. All right, we're also going to need another one of those that is, where did you go? Why can't I find it? Player piles index. Okay, we're going to make another one called players index. Okay, and we'll make that a number also. So this is where some inefficiency is going to kick in on this flow, because we're going to do a lot of comparing just to get these two indices to line up. But we can do it. All right, so they're both coming in as 0. We're looping our player piles. We are going to also have to loop our players. I think this is the third time we're looping our players. I have to stare at this because I feel like there's an easier way to do this, but I know I'm going to need to increment player pile. What's it called? Player piles index. Player piles index, add 1. Okay, we do that at the end of each of those. And then after each of our eaches, and then we have to increment players index, and add 1 to that. Okay, we're going to need to do that. And we will say if here, right, indexes match. Yes. Indexes match. Yes. Does the player's pile index equal the player's index? If it does, whew, then we let's see, we're going to assign set player pile. All right. Current loop players 3 dot pile, wait, hand, sorry, equals this is not my favorite. Arguably, you could say, hey, this should be yet another. You could make a invocable out of this. You could take this whole nasty thing and say something like, assign relationship or set relationship field, right? And you pass it a list of records that are your source, right? Like that's the players, and then a list of records that are the same in length as your source, and call those related. And then we need to know the ID that we're on the source that we're setting that would reference the ID, the literal ID field on the relationship. And then we could pass our list of players, our list of player piles, and it would take care of all this garbage for us. It's not garbage. This works perfectly fine, but these are for loops in Apex that would probably perform a little faster and definitely be a little bit more legible than what we're looking at here. I think I need to reset the... Do I? I need to reset... I need to reset the player's index right here. So let's say reset. Oops. There, reset equals 0. Okay. Yeah, this is nasty. I think I might build that invocable that just makes it easier to to set those variables. That's probably not completely unusual, right? If we need to create a record that is a relationship to each of our other records, then it's probably okay to have to loop through those a couple of times to get it started. But I was also thinking, well, maybe we should just init our player piles up here when we're initting our users. Honestly, we should do that because we don't care. We just need a list. We need a list of these that is equal to the list of our list of players. So let's delete this loop. Oh wait. Init player pile. Loop select. Is that loop selected users? Wait, where are we? Yeah, loop selected users. Loop selected users. .id. Now that's the one other piece, but we should be okay because we're not. We're doing our sort before we create our players, so our ownership should be preserved. But we shuffle our players here. I need the post shuffle state so that we can confidently, Yep, that's not going to work. We need to take this back to there in our second loop. And we're going to do one more. So we're going to loop each of the piles. The 0th of these goes to the 0th of that. And again, I think this is going to be way better as an invocable. In fact, what if we just do that real quick? Let's call it set record relationship, or maybe what would you call that? You take two different lists, and I would say like relate records invocable. Probably going to have some explaining to do on that one. We got a couple of minutes left. Let's see if we can do this. There's going to be something called the source records, and then there's going to be one called related, and then the field. This is the source field, and we're going to also do related field. That's going to be ID, you know, by and large. So, okay, so we're going to loop through our requests. We're going to loop through our, we're going to do a for, do a for, actually don't do that. We'll just do, well, actually, yeah, we can do a, let's just do it that way. For integer x equals 0, x less than request dot records. I'm going to call these sources and related, so it's a little bit more plural. Request dot sources dot size or dies. And x plus plus. Okay, so now we're iterating, and now we're going to just grab, right, I'm going to say this object source equals request dot sources x, and then we'll say related equals request dot relateds x. All right, so we're keeping, take the source, keep the source aligned to the related. Now we can say that we want the source dot put. Well, actually, let's get the object, the related value, right, equals related dot get related field, and then source dot put source field related value. Okay, and then I think we're done. So 5 lines of code versus that other thing. Oops. Request relateds. Oh wait, request dot related field. And what else am I missing? Source request dot source field. There we go. This is not doing a whole lot of testing to make sure that the wait, what did I miss? Wait, did I not? Did I push or did I not push? I don't know if I pushed. This is not doing a lot of validation of the data types or anything like that. Whatever, you know. I don't know if that's really, really useful. I kind of want to save this version just to make a point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With 7 elements, or 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code, right? They're doing the same thing. The benefit here is we don't have to do a nested. We are doing a nested loop because that's just how invocables work. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess you could say 8. 8 lines of code or 7 elements in a flow. Choice is yours. It'd be interesting to see how these perform, against one another. There's a lot of redundancy in this too, right? So we're not, I'm asking, do the indexes match? Yes. If not, all right, iterate again, iterate again. Yes, we did. So there's no notion of a break in here either. So it's gonna run excessively, versus our other option, which, hey, we just know the indexes, so flow, give us indexes and we'll be good. I'd love to loop, if you could loop and say, loop records or loop record indices, and then you could call that way, right? That might be interesting in the future, but maybe we'll get that, maybe we won't. Anyway, I would really love to keep this. I'm going to keep it as is, and then I'm going to save a new version of this. This is without without crazy loop. So just to do, I would like to post kind of a comparison of these two things, because here's our alternative, right? Probably should refresh. Shoot, we're coming up on time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can do this real quick. So instead of this crazy loop, let's do relate players to piles. Okay, so for the object for the relateds, that's the pile. The object for the sources, that's the player. The relateds that we're passing in is our player piles collection. Oh shoot, we're missing an invocable variable here. Darn it.